잠니지 문도 송와 쟁기 라나메베 장줍 돈둥이베 장주기 셈장 셈전레 테네케 아티 즉 오늘 셈전레 미비 니지 개발 때네 아니 니지 뭐 콤펠트 송가데라 장주기 셈 세겨와 어떻게인지 니지 생데 룽알라 미니 니지 개고는 마도 대왈 미니 니지 개가 장시요 고급 코랑이요 말해 니베 바게 나랑서 딱 가서 주마마이 니지데 요 말에 삼삼라 오늘 즉 민네파 랭고 냠다든 줄에 셈 마즈비지 용구도 와 디오야데 고 가서 깬듯이 테네 냠다 쉬우지 깬데 테네 마도 기기미도 와 주마마이 바세디가라 오니 단데 즉 셈진 레던 요몽베 제몽도 예 친절라 단데 뭐 간디 민켜버려 말해 그 타나 농야 임바지 티 그로이 끈 차상지 셈진 룽을 차상지라 네 못베고네 다지 니지기게나 다티 현대 태과예요 맞다 그뒤네 기고 왔다 티티리 티 셈진 코나는 미네 딱 오니 냠타발 미네 예 냠타바서 해야 되나 단데 그 카도 될라 시기와 봐. 딱 간지 레던 요모 배정도 예 진짜나 냠타바 통과한다. 농알 오늘 뭐다 천대긴지 예 기부지라. 어디 딘디 니가라 셈진 코날 때니 셈진 나라다 오늘 밀리나라 요 셈진 시기가라 단답에 시우지 직부진 좋아해 요르데 타나 농야진다 계속 계산 벌어 와. 저진이 대 유천부 있는 데서 예 유천부 첨부돼서 저지기 배차기 쟁월인데도 가서 가서 네 야 가서 요불라 가르라 그래 인지는 슬랩 이네 질라도 어떻게 해서 차도 배차기 요보 오요 세요 다둥대가라 냄베 숨마도 갈지요 이제는 때마도 갈지요 갈망보도 와 직삼다나 오늘 뒤도 닝제야래도 와 저지니 성공만 하나 해도 와도 수준에 어떻게 인도가라 semchen konal te dedi indugala ta ngazu ta tusabi dikiisa tatu tedo shibuji ngazu 야벌 세상도 아파 어때 이나 semchen konal te니 그 깨고 유전자 또 수잖아 마부진 삼다나 코리아 도와 어때 되게 됐을 거야 맞아 상길이니 니지케로 고가 코라요 레데 놈을 타 생산해 뒤로 상길이니 니지고로 쓰기도 와 어때 거기 로봇이 내지요 로정트디는 맞죠 예탈 생진 타다게 한데 말루와 죽진스 네바가 너무 타스 니반 상인이 아직도 통진스 어다 된디 통진스 잠니시 꿀네 조베 상기 덤데 이장주기 센지 다데 온다 겐티데 생계반의 젠데티 양도로 장주인데 세다 어다도 소와 다데 이거라 니 든바니 티 생계스네 든바니링이 생제라 생계스로 생계반의 젠데치 세드발 균dum바 시도 생제 동안 나래 이니 양도소베 장주인들 세드 쫀dum바 다데 셰르게 남진차다 쫀dum바리 균dum바리 제가 니지 남진차 이 임바데 내든 제 마소 니랑 미도 니나는 미도 같이 연랑이 바 타죠 경고는 이제 연랑이나 니나이나 지금 열었을 거나서 보다 디나라 가리스 경고는 이제 장이 튼데 깨는 마동이 집어지진 제 운동을 말해 지금은 제 말이야 그래 경고는 이제 장이 더 인사 테크닉으로 진대 버려 같이 가르쳐 니지 semchen means sherab ki chanchu ni se oda yana chide njoi chide teri so sowa nije semchen means ta nije yundum ba de semchen lungal ni ne eni nije ke wo ba kaje ke semchen ni nije ke wo ba de yuba nije semchen means ta semchen ki tenje ba ten ta tu ba foto 중화 가스포타 어디 하절에 펜터에 계속 했던 거 가게 있으면 펜터지 줘봐라 안디 소소랑 진진 공부 단진 공부 엘레댕이 뭐 정어 준대니 다 뒤에 접시 준대니 미치기 두야 카우치 딩디가 나타 좀 든바디 소소나 상계가 리지도 그러고 상계가 일반도 그러고 상계가 일반이나 상 방법랑 상계는 근데 선진 된지야 내가 뭐네 이차리야 어디 딩디가 상계 던지기 든바들라 좀 든바스요 어떤 유명인 땡 선진 딩디가 나타 뭐네 선계 권한이 아니베 합신이가 냐는 제 수능과 내미 보래 이 누가라 지 예, 랑 진진아 란진아 내바지 딘 되는 거야 니딘초 어떻게 문이 내미 보지 생계반의 전들이 양다적으로 전주도서 세 문덕인의 생계비 너생기 중대 되더라 제송소스
Continuing with the reading, page 52. In addition, the awakening mind that seeks to gain unsurpassable enlightenment must be preceded by love and compassion, which in turn are developed in dependence on sentient beings. So now again, it's kind of emphasize the importance of other sentient beings, the great concept, like compassion, love, and even the ultimate achievement, that is awakening mind or enlightenment, basically rely upon other sentient beings. If you look at the compassion and its kind of nature, how we develop compassion, how we attain compassion is there has to be somebody out there, sort of object of observation that help us to generate compassion within us, and we never gain, or compassion never arises in us looking at somebody who is so happy, who is so wealthy or something. Compassion arises not in that kind of target, but rather it arises from and sometimes we all have experience. It's not a genuine compassion, but very kind of good compassion, sort of. Sometimes, not so often, when we see somebody in a very kind of bad situations, kind of we have this empathetic sense, we have that kind of compassion. So to have that kind of compassion for us ordinary people, what in a way what we need is, in order to have a compassion, it seems like we need factors and conditions, something out there that make us arise our compassion. That is the reason why our compassion is not genuine. Actually, the genuine compassion, or the great compassion, the genuine compassion comes from the really the profound understanding of the nature of suffering. And once you have understand the nature of the suffering of cyclic existence, and understanding basically that as long as sentient beings are under the influence of karmic action and afflicted emotions, it doesn't matter what kind of status they are, but they becomes the object of compassion. So but that kind of compassion doesn't generate within us, our ordinary people. So as mentioned before, we has to have something out there serving us, factors and conditions to generate our compassion, to arise. So so for true practitioners with a genuine compassion, to them it doesn't matter what kind of as mentioned before, status, situation, as long as you are in the cyclic existence, no matter whether you are millionaire or billionaire, most wealthy person, but as long as you are under the influence or power of karmic action and affliction, you are at the end, you are bound to fall down. You're going to suffer again. So, but for ordinary people like us, it's hard to see those people kind of suffering. However, sometimes there is a way, if you try to kind of make our thought more kind of more active, such as when you look at somebody who is very wealthy, although they, because of their wealth, they are supposed to be kind of in a better situation than ourselves. But when we look at their wealth and their true nature, from one perspective, it is they are like the slave of their wealth for the entire lifetime, and they have to guard it, protect it. They need to make it more, and so they are in the very cycle of their own kind of being a slave of wealth. Um, and but as mentioned before, we don't. For ordinary people, it's hard to have a compassion towards, for example, like enlightened being. If you have a compassion towards enlightened being, basically that compassion is considered as a wrong compassion, distorted compassion. So continue with the reading here. Seeing that only a fully awakened being has the ability to eliminate every last hindrance and misery and establish every single sentient being without exception in a state of happiness and well-being, stirred by love and compassion, we should activate the awakening mind that wishes to attain that completely awakened state of being. Maitreya and Asanga's ornament for clear realizations says, so this is the text, ornament for clear realizations by Maitreya Buddha. And in this text, what we see here, the quote, generating the awakening mind is the desire for completely perfected full awakening for others' sake. So this is usually we quote as a, when we define the altruism, this is the quote that we cite. And this, the meaning of altruism here, we usually define in the kind of two, composing of two part, what we call, aspiration, true aspiration. The first sentence says when mind is the desire for, it's the only kind of, level of thought, the mental, you have a desire, wishing to go, but you are actually not walking, not going, not taking a journey. It's just a mere mental. That's one type of, here, it's a desire to attain altruistic. And the second is completely perfected, full awakening for others' sake. And the first one is sometimes we called, the first aspiration as the causal aspiration, which is another way of saying is, the love and compassion. The second, full awakening for others' sake, this is accompanying kind of aspiration, which from method and aspect, the second one is the method and wisdom. The second is the wisdom, while the first one is method. So we see here, kind of in this ornament of clear realizations, presenting altruistic mind in the form of combining method and wisdom. So in the text, like ornamental appearance, probably in that text, Kishila said. In that text, it talks about when it defines these two aspiration. In that text, it says it tells the two different objective or target. For the compassion, the objective is other sentient beings, or the object of observation is other sentient beings. But the wisdom accompanying aspiration, the target or object of the observation is enlightenment. So we see these two kind of aspiration together in the altruism, and the reason here is that compassion is the result of when you look at other sentient beings, what you generate, what arises within you is the compassion. But so with that compassion, when you try to solve the problem for other sentient beings, at this moment, it is basically impossible. As mentioned before, we individual, ordinary people are like sort of, full of this ego mind, selfishness, and it is beyond our, ability to help other sentient beings. So in order to perfect oneself, the practitioner, what he or she does is try to attain the highest realizations, that is, perfect awakening, enlightenment. So, and once you attain that, then, you can do whatever, way, in perfect way to serve, benefit other sentient beings. And so what we see here is, as mentioned before, method and wisdom combined together, which is needed here. The another way of saying is that two main obstacles or obscurations. The first is self-cherishing thought or ego mind. For that, the antidote is, other cherishing thought or altruism. And the second, self-grasping, is the exact opposite or antidote. The wisdom serve as the antidote for self-grasping. So this is the these two sentences in the Maitreya's the ornaments for clear realization. It's a big text, long text, but this two sentences shows the summary of the teachings on altruism.
깨네 저거 치료를 하세요. 저거 치료를 라인데가라 이 사제 나라 도시요. 라기 민버치 제베 발진 주려다가 신규 민버치 뇌고 보지라라 봐서 송도라 나도 송과 아 샘깨네 샘깨지 딱 공부도 그거라 발진 주려 냐면 제가 딱 공부도 그거라 어떻게 샘깨지 때로 빼 공박 하면도 필요없어 송도와 이게 남들 나라 배 그게요 민지대 에베 곰나 가사 공박 하면도 필요없대 심기인데 미쳐서 송도와 민지 잠바 송이도 별로 미다베도 별로 기디 딱지 대외 초기 심기 가져요 심기인데 생기 연대를 쓰다가 경고를 시대 송도 연대인배 연대 인고야 돼 무슨 짓 때 송도 이게 생가 차로 두다가 생코는 동이도 별로 뭘 끼고 왔어 송도 생 참에 몰라 동이도 별로 동이도 별에 뭘 끼고 왔어 송도 저거 이제 나한테 생가 좀 차체도 딩을 끼고 왔어 딩도 샘기 견시드가 샘 가지고 찰치드가 이 뭐를 저도 뭐 다디드가 뭐라고 디 따라 아주고 괜찮아 미 견진지 딱 뭐니 친분보다 친등이 민주는 거야라 딱고 무슨데 걔는 막아 저도 말와 거기 끼어 인사 하기 나주는 내가 이 저도 말와 다미 덴바 임바 남주의 내게미지 가지지 수익 침품 가르친 데는 그래 농개며 뒤집어지게 하자 이 인지가라 전다들 가르라고 아주 자주기 센다 같이 대외 쪽이 로지 아주 길에 끼끼어래 개바대 샘참을 오나 끼투그래 이 인지가라 장수 있잖아 끼끼어있는 수술 시대에 뇽은 저도 섬지등 거는 저도 말 단디 있잖아 짓고 가서다 집 넘겨지지 땡지 저번에 말이 지지하는 거가 신다기 제두야요 말아 이게 섬지 견디 이것도 누만 진거 뭐다 이것도 방고 있어 내가 저기 뒤시고 이거 섬지 연된데 견기 차셔데 섬 카메라로 저도 믿고 보내 잘 보다 이거는 경고무지 다지 뭐지 나는 매버지를 와 맞을 빼셔진다네 통화 나도 나한테 이 따요 말이야 나기 죽는 거다 여기서 말이야 이 경고는 세워 쉬우진 이양도 송도하는 규정이요 매나 송도 말와 내가 좀 하나 송도 말 경고는 무슨 송도도 밀로 누가 차려 또 땡기지 어떻게 이기가 이 보나야 엔도지노 살성을 두세.
So in the stages of path in a text Lamrim, we find when we look at the subtopic, how the text is break down into different topics. After generating altruistic mind or awakening mind, the text goes on to the next topic of practice of six perfections, and in Lamrim we find ripening one's own mind and ripening the minds of other sentient beings. So ripening one's own mind or reaching one's own enlightenment, what is needed is in the Lamrim stages of path, the text we find six practice of perfections. And in the ripening of other sentient beings or disciples, here it is translated, you will see later, amassing disciples, there are four practices that is required. And the main reason why there is emphasis on kind of generating and then further promoting the positive qualities of our mind We also see this in the you know Buddhist logic text, Valid Cognition. In that text, it used the reason that such as love, compassion, can be developed without any limit, you know. And the reason the text says is because these are the qualities of the mind, the nature of the mind. So His Holiness also, you know, kind of in his teaching, he emphasized the important point, which Geshe said he didn't see, this particular teaching in text. Maybe His Holiness is citing from Vajrayana teachings or Tantric teachings. You know, the nature of the mind, that when mind becomes most kind of subtlest, or they reach the highest point, wisdom such as wisdom realizing emptiness, compassion, love, kindness, those positive qualities of the mind can coexist with the subtlest, nature of the mind. On the other hand, the negative, the mind, hatred, anger, they cannot coexist with the subtlest nature of the mind. So, so what this tells us that, the example here, I mentioned was somebody who has a criminal record, individual cannot openly walk around, he can be easily arrested. But somebody who is honest and has no criminal record can go freely. And so the point here is that realizing and understanding that there is a good part of our mind which if we work on it, it can improve, those compassion, love, kindness. Not only improve, but they can improve in a such way that there's no limit. You can keep improving and improving it. There's no limit. And while on the other hand, the negative, thoughts, afflicted emotions, temporarily they can cause us a problem. They can make us behave bad, harm others. But in the long term, they cannot coexist. They have no ability to, kind of maintain or stay together with the subtle nature of the mind. So these are something that we need to be kind of, eliminating or abandoning from our primary mind.
수수 문에 가서래 좋아해 지도 왔다 배트기 디니가 요모면은 동안에 유메티가는 동안 뭐라 여행 말와 내 sabdo masabi momenti le dili te wangi jabe te wangi jabe dirunjunga yo ma lukoran dili doa wata te indikala 대양 즉 아주 삼단에 걸리지 않을 마다 선마다는 고마워 어떻게 내 전머리 저 뒤서서 놓는데 난 니나 다 니는 뒤서도 누에모 보시다 벌준 쪽이 선전을 했는데 개와다 다 누에모 보시세 라브린나라 진규 민바트 누에모 보시 진 두야라 사진 다 네페 벌써 자세히 펜도바 취기 펜도바 던던딘바 던제바스데 도스네 이시장거 던제바스데가라 오늘 수수 가 셰바데 트람포 덴바 덴투 던제바스데 수수 셰바나진 수수 냠는 제데 베나 긴 페이지나 셰바나진지 셰 아니 수수 고도 제거나 된 제거 차고 말 제가 소소의 양이 지야돼 한 셰바나지 제고와 뭐도 뒤스네 걔는 누이고 보시 내 버진 주다 술집 가서 술집니다 셰르게 가진 것도 바로 집어 두고 두는 거야 내가 파전이 오늘 유전만 말해 방포 아주 융화기 니제 가야 디베 뇨몰이 기베 융화기 니제 너미야 던다라 수준지 파지 디니 디 마지신 지와라 이 진베 파진 세대지 마달라 아니 이진바나 바송니 용도 와 자신이지 봐 이제 곰 대곰 때리세야래 자신이지 봐게 아니 소 제ele 냐시나 디교벨라 미지비지마 아니 제가 아니베 란더레 인제게 아니 치기지마 지바는 것소 데니 디기 야 뭐 컴벤너나 디 용알라 디 뭐 컴벤너로 아니 니 소셈 야부고 와 소셈 용알라 존디 용와 그래서 빨리 존디디 차르친 존디 용알라 다 존디 용이 다 가려지 말도 셈찌지 딩이 주야 셈찌니 집이 좀 딩이 주나 니루도 시작해 기고 말도 때마다 기고 말 맞아 또 집이가 차쇼는 니루도 시작해 차도 돈이도 로차를 또 강중 만중 장아지니 양매 용매지 녀몬데 집에 셈지 또 두고 거라요 말해 이니가라 딩인지 15개 치고 차 딩인지 용알라 존디 맞네 딩인지 주도야 말해 좀바 잡아지 뭐 주 고등학교 또 수준이 공부도 와 이용알라 싫어 가서 이 소세 남친들 소세 또 보지고 와 그래서 봐야고 소세 짜지나 때라 녀모 추모 주지 내가 본도 주시지가 상담도 제가 소파땡 온도 시네 제가 이나 보도 파지 상무시다 내 수지 상담나 데레 에베 조발레 아니 지바다에 또 토스를 와 이베 미지 셰바다 토스라기도 와 가리나 수수냐는 로정들 토스제 미세 초초도 지는 거 와. 토스라기도 와. 단 냐는 제가 카고 쉬지도 와. 원에 카고도 와. 이니발라 이니데 데 조심소에 토스라. 도시네 가지야 삼다. 니만은 삼다 도시네 도시와. 근데 가주 퇴발에 도시는 발진주 제야래. 어디 된지래. 대공도 근도 어째 발라. 대사를 준비 잔주 있음. 자와 잠니지 종에 샘지 저바랑기 샘전에 되는 종이 그리고 상계 주의 교소 탄제 샘전에 되는 샘전에 되는 뭔가서 상계네 tundu yumi chebe tinle tenchari samjana ten jung 유미치를 튕기세네 딱 초골 고용다가 대기 공도 주죠 니리 매바 고야 되다 균체 매바 고야 돼 제와 니지기 질레레스 아니 최탐제 니루 지마지진 도하다 동이 또비 셔럽 질레레스 또 수도 이 남의 수도 어떻게 이거는 뭐니 수 이래 너나 개발침이 그를 탐지기 싸웠는지 제발 짐바세 미디 선전을 따나야 니다 닐라세네 라 상인이 좀 유로시 당신 잠배 되지 아세 뭐니 자기 이게 제소스
제 준주 롱의 장셔 준주 롱 준주 레더 준주 롱들도 참선되는 거 저거 한데 맞디 계시라 그거들로
근데 상인이 좀 유로시 당신 잠배 되지 제소 이제야 때나 진사신 세발라 사본 중 좀바테네 레버 손치 때니 센토 장 몽중어 통나 진사 장볼라 체체 제제 바탈 샘진 이진나 전주기 선진이 진나 잠니지 전주기 샘 친구 누에모부지 지사본 때는 레버 손치 겸나 등이 타진 사기 점는 이교 공방 톱네 사기 이진나 체체 제제 수교대 하신 누가 이동하나 남바제 도토니 그바제도 전주래 비치 샘진 진단이 야외 진시 두 배수 대다 위치 뭐고 기타 분수 분수 하루 진 샘진 남다 야왈 사이기 최중 야왈 야라 구이자 대신 샘진 라미 지지수 삼배 연대 라랑기 민 제소스 다데모네
주심사 시대전 찾아 말아
라
대시하는 말 찾아 말아 대장으로
어떻게 뭐네 다가라 와서 상이라 상기기는 상기인제는 그가 딱 그냥 그밖에 보라 선전제도 그밖에 좀 하자서 더도 지 이제 삼다 차도되게 니게 니가 옆내야 말와 그러다 보니까 니지 세인데 선전은 되는 이유가 선전은 다 상기니다 캐버면 어디 지 개과에 뒤순과 상기 라 그바제와 상기 선전은 같은 이유가 말씀이라 아직 직선을 당부가 어떻게
Continue with the reading. That's the last paragraph on page 52. And after this reading, then we will stop here for today. Before that, before reading, like I should have mentioned about the different state of consciousness. When the physical senses they are actively engaged in something or in an activity, at that time we consider both body as well as the consciousness being much at the grosser level, and then at the time of dreaming, both body as well as the consciousness become more subtler, and then there's a further kind of conditions or state where both body and the consciousness becomes extremely kind of subtle, and when we look at the the Buddhist path, when does complete cessation of the afflicted emotions or negative thoughts happens? When we look at the five paths, among the five paths, the path of seeing, which is the third, and path of seeing, within the path of seeing, what we call the first moment of uncontaminated path. That is the path where all the afflicted emotions and mental thoughts were eliminated from its very root. So therefore, sometimes you might have heard the expression for noble beings, the Aryas, they don't create new karma. The meaning here is that they have totally eliminated the root cause of the afflicted emotions, so they don't basically create another negative or non-virtuous sin. And so if you understand this kind of concept, sometimes it is kind of helpful in encouraging ourselves to engage in this kind of the practice promoting the positive qualities of mind. And there are, however, we do find in kind of Buddhist scholars, practitioners, that some scholars says that when we enlightened, that same enlightened mind is the continuity of the afflicted thought. But then some scholars like Kuntian Jarvin Sheba says that afflicted thoughts totally ceased, and what we enlightened, when we enlightened, there is no at all any aspects of the afflicted emotion. So we do find these kind of different interpretations. Now I'm continuing with the reading. The 4 ways of amassing disciples. These 4 are giving, speaking pleasantly, teaching, and acting in accordance with the teaching. So in the stages of Path Lamrim, we find these 4 as a means to kind of gather other disciples or benefit others. So in the technique or the ways, there are 4. First one is giving and speaking pleasantly, and then teaching and acting in accordance with the teaching. The main point here is that you speak pleasantly of others, you give teaching, but whatever you are teaching, you should be the one that is also kind of practicing. There should be kind of parallel between what you speak and what you act. And the 6 transcending perfections. So these are the 6 perfections that is in the Lamrim, again, stages of path. Practices that ripen your own mind. And those 6, as you know, beginning with the generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiasm or effort, meditative stability or concentration meditation, and then finally wisdom, discriminating intelligence. Also develop independence on sentient beings, as is abiding in and repeatedly enhancing the awakening mind. So when we look at the list of these 6 practice of perfection or transcending perfections, as you know, these are all kind of interconnected. In order to have a good the generosity, one has to have a good practice of ethics, and the practice of ethics is a mainly practice of ethics related to physical and verbal, and for that what you need is the patience. In order to have a patience, what you need is the enthusiasm or the effort. And then for that, what you need is the meditative stability or concentration to have a good effort. And in order to have a good meditative stability, the must thing is wisdom, requiring wisdom, discriminating phenomena, or wisdom realizing emptiness. And in terms of intensity, or the first one is most easiest, generosity. Then as you go further into the list, it becomes more subtle, more difficult. So generosity most easiest, most gross level, ethics more difficult, and so the list go on. And likewise, you can just look from the the bottom and up. In order to have a wisdom realizing emptiness, what is needed is good meditation. Without meditation, you won't have a wisdom. In order to have a good meditative concentration, you need enthusiasm or hard work, effort. For that, what is needed is the patience. For that, you need the ethics. So these are all kind of interconnected, and so one needs to understand the list according to proper list, and then maybe vice versa. Therefore, we can see that the basis of our conduct, the source of the awakening mind, love and compassion, the basis of the practice, the generation of the altruistic mind, and the essence of our own training arise in dependence on sentient beings. The accumulation of all manner of causes for accomplishing the fruit of Buddhahood depends upon sentient beings. Even after the highest attainment of complete awakening, the practice of enlightened activity, which comes about in an unbroken stream, arises in dependence upon the sentient beings for whom it is done. So here we mentioned before, the result of compassion is that even after attaining enlightenment, you have ability to give teachings, continuously, unbiasedly, impartially, and the wisdom of the benefit or the impact of having a wisdom realizing emptiness is that you have understood the reality. So these two functioning even at the the stage of result. Essentially, at the root of everything in the great vehicle, the causes and the result is concern for sentient beings. As the guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says, whenever I turn my gaze upon a sentient being, thinking, I shall fully awaken through depending upon these things. This being, she took at her with open-hearted love. Moreover, if, for instance, we plant healthy seeds in an extremely fertile field, guarding them well against marauders, we will reap a bountiful harvest. Understanding this, we will treat our fine field with great care. Likewise, having planted the potent seeds of love, compassion, and awakening mind, the 6 transcending perfections and therefore means of amassing disciples in the field of sentient beings. If we look after them well, they will give rise to the state of a fully awakened being, a transcendent subduer, fulfilling the 2 purposes of ourselves and others. Understanding this, we will take great care of the field of sentient beings, and seeing them as pleasing and attractive, we will respect them. The guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life says, therefore the Mighty One has stated that they are the field of sentient beings and the field of Buddhas. For many, we have pleased them, have thereby reached perfection. Since the qualities of full awakening are derived from sentient beings and conquerors alike, how can we act respectfully towards conquerors and not towards sentient beings? We should not foster such an attitude. So at the end, we see Shantideva's quote, importance of Buddha on one hand and importance of sentient beings on the other hand. Shantideva says that these are 2 equally important. So then, we should be asking ourselves this question: why we are so, paying so much respect, reverence to Buddhas, but on the other hand, not to other sentient beings. So we'll stop here for today. If you have a question, so you can ask maybe one question. Yeah.
I think I wrote this down correctly, but something about when you have compassion for others suffering, you can't do anything except perfect your own mind. I don't think I wrote that correctly.
Is that question for me or for Geshe-la? I'm just kidding. Can you read that again?
Yeah.
I don't remember what I said before.
Well, what I wrote down is when you have compassion for others suffering, you can't do anything for them except perfect your own mind.
딘데로 실라선스다 지는 뭐랑 고노테인 그래서 심제 심박이 심제 시행을 미는 인지기 되는 인지 냠랭갑라 아니 인지 코나 냠랭 체르마도 지그 소소소기 갈아버다 심바 나वर sem yarge tang tu mari to stin des koson sa de konote me na khande na la ngone ne man simje jenge dungel mi ne ningji ki ro diga bla so 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 ge ne khala ore so so ge sem yarge tang la ore so we're saying that if you are showing a compassion and practicing compassion to other sentient beings, along the process, your mind should be also developing. Your mind should be getting better. So it should be perfecting it, not kind of.
남제들 때 진기 동안 당도 랭겨 지게 남제 매지 답에 누가긴 지지 있는데 진기 배 연된 깨게 마찬가지는 누가들이 있는데 배 두스치니 다 누가들 이 때문에 샘데 시부지 샘데 부스도 없고 샘데 남제 매긴 차렸어 이 개발이
In fact, His Holiness talks about, in his teaching, the power of compassion and how it kind of affects our mind. Physically, we might see the same kind of, sign when you are suffering. You are in tears. You can also have the same experience, of having a tears when you think about other sentient beings, but in the mind, these are 2 totally different things. When you're going through a hard time, difficult period, thinking only about your own suffering, you cry, and under that kind of situation, your mind become much more narrow. Your mind become less intelligent, not able to use, wisdom, and that happens. That's very kind of limited, narrow. But on the other hand, when you have a compassion towards other sentient beings, and out of compassion, when you are in tears, your mind is totally different. It's open up. It's thinking, broad things, and it will strengthen your mind, and you become more kind of, in terms of wisdom, more intelligent. So, although physical sign may be same, but mentally, totally two different. Kind of, it's happening in our mind. So, assumption. So we'll stop here. Rāve kōve shīngām de pēndān de wā mālu jōngwē ne chērē sīwā tēnzīng gyā sū yīn shāvē zēdē pārdō dēn jō chē jāmbē pāwē jīdarā kēmbā kōndō zāngbō dēyā de shīn dēn tēdā kūngkī jē sōn dā lōb jīn gyā wā dēdā tam jē rāb Du sum shaben jawa tamje ge ngowa kangla chodo ngaba de da shen ge we zawa de gun ja sambo junje rabdu ngowa. In the land encircled by snow-white mountains, the source of all happiness and benefits flows in your person, generously dancing gyatso, remained into samsara ends. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samananda Bhatta true, so now I do dedicate these merits to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of past, present, and future praise dedication to the Supreme, so now I too dedicate these sources of my merit for all beings to perfect good actions.